When I was a young lad, I was always interested in railways. Once it's in your blood, you never lose it. When the family eventually moved to Hampshire and I knew the Watercress line was here, there was an ideal opportunity to actually come and work on the railway and become a signalman. The signalling operations basically on the Watercress line is the management of trains, the safe management of trains running up and down the line to ensure their safety. And we use signal boxes like this to actually control the movement of trains along the line. Going way back when trains first started to run, you used to have a man walk in front with a red flag or green flag. That was how it started off. And then slowly over the years, signals were introduced as a way of telling the driver when he could proceed. So probably signals came in the late 1800s. Well, we take volunteers from any background whatsoever, and we use the old British Rails way of doing it, whereby they would start off actually working as like a porter on the platform and get trained in the various requirements, of portering on the stations. And then they can put their name forward for more advanced training, either as a signalman or as a guard or as a shunter within our traffic department. Once your name is put forward and you're accepted to be trained as a signalman, then you actually go on a training course that we run here, and then you work in the signal box initially with trained signalmen and learn how to operate the box and get used to the rules that we work by. And then probably after about 6 months to a year, you will be tested on the rules to see if you know the rules, and then you're actually passed out to operate this signal box. So it could probably take round about 3 or 4 years before they would actually start to be trained as a signalman. It's a responsible role, and we can equate ourselves to the networked rail signallers, that work on the main line. Our responsibility is obviously to ensure the safe operation of the train. There is, I wouldn't say pressure, because we're all volunteers and we probably wouldn't be volunteers if there was pressure, but certainly there's some significant requirements and responsibilities with the job. So it's not just coming to play with trains, you're actually doing a proper job of work here. Well, luckily we've all got all this lovely equipment around us which really stops us making mistakes. So it's almost impossible for us to make a mistake, but obviously the ultimate is that you could put a train and the public at risk if you did make a mistake. But as I say, we've got this lovely equipment around us which obviously stops us doing that. On the Watercress line, we've got 4 stations, 1 at either end and 2 in the middle, and each of the stations in the middle have got what are called passing loops. So we can actually pass 2 trains, but in between the stations it's a single line. So here, when we send a train from here to Rockley, which is the next station up the line, we must make sure that the line is clear, and we use the signal boxes at either end of what we call sections between the stations to actually make sure that the trains are controlled in a safe manner and you don't have 2 trains on the line at once. We have this wonderful machine which is called an electric key token machine. And you can see there's keys in here. And before I can send a train from Alresford to the next station, I have to obtain one of these keys. And it's only the signalman at the other end of the section at Rockley that allows me to do that, to actually withdraw a key. Once I've withdrawn a key from here, he can't withdraw a key from his end. Before I can clear a signal, operate a signal to allow the train to proceed onto the single line, I have to have a key out. And once I've cleared the signal, I put a key in one of these pouches, just for ease of handing to the driver, and the driver must take that with him as he travels on the single line to the station at the other end. Once the train arrives there, he gives that to my counterpart at the other signal box, and that signalman then restores the key into his machine and basically tells me the train has arrived complete, and we can either send another train, I can send another train to him, or he can offer a train to me. Each signal box, old signal box like this, has got one of these diagrams, which is nothing more really than a map of the station layout, showing the actual tracks in the station. There's the 2 platforms, and there's the signal box where we are now. And you'll see there's numbers here by the signals and by the points, and they relate to the actual lever numbers actually in the lever frame. So it's a way of helping the signalman to remember what levers do what in the station area. In all of our mechanical signal boxes, like this one here at Alresford, we have basically 3 different colour levers. The red ones operate all the signals, the black ones operate the points, and we have blue ones, and they're locks on the points, which basically once we've moved a set of points, the lock is engaged and it stops the points moving when the train is going over them. This is called a block shelf in front of me, and we have various brass instruments there that we have to clean. It's part of the duties of a signalman to keep them well polished, and basically they give us an indication of what the signals are doing, whether the signals are in danger or whether they're cleared. So some signals that you can't see visibly from the signal box, it's like a remote indication, so we know exactly what that signal's doing. So a signalman must always use a duster when he's pulling the levers to stop the levers going rusty. These are steel levers, and with the dampness on your hands operating them like that, they would over time start to go rusty. And we do get quite a lot of visitors coming to the signal box, and it's very nice when they see it's all kept nice and clean and bright and shiny. We're a heritage railway, we're proud of our heritage.